My 24F husband, 31M, asked for a paternity test. It came back positive, but our relationship was never the same. My 24F husband, 31M, and I have 3 children. Our sons look exactly like him, dark skin and dark eyes and hair. But our daughter doesn't. She looks exactly like my great-grandparents, really pale, blonde and green-eyed. But apparently he didn't think it was possible that our daughter could look like my great-grandparents, and from the moment he saw her he told me he wanted a paternity test. At first I refused because I felt it was humiliating and because I didn't think it was necessary because I never cheated on him and I hoped he would trust me, but he didn't, and for the first 2 months of our daughter's life he made my life hell. He didn't want to hold her even if she cried desperately while I was doing something else. He never woke up at night to help me with her. He never helped me with anything, and that hurt me so much because with our boys he was completely different. He helped me all the time with absolutely everything and he was always there for him after giving birth. But this time he left meal one and it was the worst experience of my life. I have no family here, and his entire family from the moment they saw my daughter turned their backs on me. I don't have any friends here either, so it was just my daughter and me. She is a colicky baby, so it was very difficult for me to do everything alone, and on top of that help with our sons. I decided to do the paternity test because one day his entire family came to our house to celebrate my son's birthday and no one spoke to me, and they didn't want to include my daughter in the photos that my in-laws took of all the grandchildren. So I knew it was stupid to keep waiting for them to come to their senses. Well, the paternity test came back positive and everyone was shocked, and of course they felt guilty for not having believed in me. Everyone apologized and my husband even cried when he held our daughter in his arms for the first time, and I know that his apologies were genuine and that's why I forgave him, but I don't know if I can forgive his family. They treated me really badly and said horrible things about me just a few days after giving birth, and I can't forget their insults or violence. My husband knows that I don't want to see his family, nor do I want them near any of our children, and he told his family. So these last 3 months, it has been just the 5 of us, but it doesn't feel as good as I expected. My husband is constantly apologizing and crying every time he holds our daughter, and I am getting tired of this situation. I want us to be happy as we were before. So how can we move on? My husband suggested that we should start couples therapy. How much can therapy help? My wife, 32F, got cancer and is leaving me. 32M. I'm distraught. My wife and I were dating 10 years before we got married last year, June 2022. So we've been together about 11 years now. Married for 15 months now. 2 weeks after our wedding, my wife gets diagnosed with a super rare form of appendix cancer that is as aggressive as you can get. So she ends up in the hospital last July up at Sloan Kettering in New York, fighting for her life, because the cancer has spread so dramatically. Everyone thought she was going to die. I end up spending hundreds of hours researching a surgeon who would take her case in to debulk some of the tumors. I finally found a great surgeon in Pittsburgh who opened her up and spent 13 hours taking out tumors from her midsection. She recovers from that surgery back in January and she goes into remission for no more than 4 weeks before they started to see the cancer coming back. They then told her she would be on heavy chemotherapy until she died. She's had about 20 rounds total of FOLFOX, FOLFIRI, and honestly probably more than that. The doctor's side it only works for a year or 2 until the cancer takes over. They gave her about a year to live in her most recent oncologist appointment. She comes up to me the other day and says she wants to separate and spend her remaining days with her hometown friends in New York for a better support system. I work 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day and then sometimes hit the gym after work. She never really made a life outside of the house because she always feels so shitty from chemo. She says she feels lonely and needs this support system. So no big deal, right? I offered to move up there with her, but she says she wants me to move on and actually start a family with someone else. She says she doesn't want me waking up one random day when I'm 37, I'm 32 right now by the way, and have no family and a dead wife. I told her that she is my life and I want to spend the rest of it with her. She still denies me from coming. I've sat her down for 5 straight days, trying to plead with her to let me come to at least take care of her on her bad days, but she says it has to be this way. I'm so distraught. I don't know what else to do to save this marriage. I've tried everything. It seems the more I bring up trying to save the marriage, the more she wants to end it. Recently she's been very distant, and has planned a date for her to get on a plane to NY for good. October 27th. She said she would stay until that date to help me with anything I needed to get moved out and on my own. Every time I try to hug her or kiss her on the cheek she acts uncomfortable. We've been together 11 years and now it's all gone. What is my best course of action if I want to save this marriage? Or do I just let her go? I want to be with her on her final days. Sad face. My 24 meters partner told me last night he thinks it's okay for a 13-year-old to consent with adults. WTFIM 29F. Last night we were watching YouTube. A video about a teacher being inappropriate with a boy came up. Anda thinks it's fine. He started saying he wishes it was him and he is so lucky and says it's different for girls and a male teacher, but with guys they can consent at that age. Then after he wanted to be freaky watching that IDK, did it turn him on or something? I made up an excuse and turned him down. Obviously, I felt like puking after hearing that from him. Do you think this is a good reason to separate from someone? Has anyone else's partner say something like this? He is one sick, disgusting person in my eyes. I don't really have the funds to leave, but I'd still make it work somehow. I would rather be homeless than be with someone with this mindset. Any advice? Thank you. My 26M girlfriend, 25F, made out with another guy. I am in a 6-year relationship, and we have been living together for 5 years, while juggling our respective studies in engineering and landscape architecture. Recently, due to our active involvement in the student community and as mentors during our university's novice period, we have been struggling to find time for each other. This is especially true in September when our commitments often keep us apart. In the following week, she came home very happy, having made new acquaintances. She even mentioned meeting a guy, let's call him G, whom she thought would be a good match for her sister. However, a week later, she came home exceptionally late after a party, much later than usual, and seemed evasive when I asked about the event. I began to worry, as she had never experienced blackouts and didn't appear drunk when she came home. The situation raised some concerns for me. When I later arrived home from campus, she had not yet gotten out of bed, eaten, or had any water. I got her to the couch and tried to get her some food and water, but she refused. I asked her if anything had happened, and she said no. I told her I loved her, and she started to cry, which had never happened before. We spent the rest of the day cuddling and watching our favorite show. The next day, she still hadn't eaten or had any water, so I asked once more if anything had happened or if she wanted to talk. Feeling increasingly worried, I ended up doing something I deeply regretted, looking through her messages, which is something we typically don't do. We trust each other. Later that day, she called me and asked when I was coming home. This was unusual, so I figured she was ready to talk and left straight away. When I came home, she eventually admitted to G making out with her. My concern is not about whether he forced himself onto her, but rather the fact that she kept this information from me for over 24 hours, lied, and was uncertain about her own actions. I asked her if she reciprocated, to which she replied that she does not know. I expressed my need for time and space to consider the situation, and we are currently taking some time apart to reflect on our relationship. How do I proceed? I feel very defeated and betrayed by the love of my life right now. Edit. She claims they talked about it for 2 hours afterwards and sorted things out. I 24F found a condom wrapper and my boyfriend 25 meters says he hasn't got a clue where it came from. I'm having a hard time right now, because he's never given me any reason to suspect he'd cheat. However, recently I found the top half of a condom wrapper. By some dumb stroke of luck or unluckiness, I saw it while on the toilet. It was in the floor of our shower. Which was odd since I had just taken a shower earlier that day, and my boyfriend had not yet showered. You'd think it'd go down the drain or at least be near it, but it was at the end of the tub, shower away from the drain. I still don't understand how I didn't notice it when I showered. So I picked it up, figuring it was trash that'd come off my own body earlier in the shower until I looked closer at it out of curiosity. That's when I saw the name of a popular condom brand and the expiration date. It was a brand my boyfriend and I never bought, but my late husband and I used to use them 3+ years ago. I started off by straight up asking my boyfriend if he had cheated before I told him what I found. Anda said no with a deadpan look. I then told him what I found and he said he doesn't know how it got there. He said my cat may have found it in our closet and put it there. I don't know what the odds of this are, but I have known my cat to rummage through my boxes and storage and he's thrown up a Starburst wrapper before. He's notorious for eating strange things when left at home. I've also seen my cat dig in the boxes I used to store my late husband's clothing in and my old clothing. The expiration date was in 2025 and my husband passed in 2020. That being said, he adamantly refuses to have anything to do with it getting there and repeatedly said he hasn't got a clue on how it got in the shower. My boyfriend didn't seem to get defensive, and has sounded like he was being honest. But I don't know what to do from here. I can't say my trust is gone, but I also can't say I'm not worried on how it got there. My late husband never lived in the apartment we're in now, and I only brought some of his belongings with me. What are the odds of this? My cat is known to eat strange things and my cat likes wandering in the tub of the shower. How long could a wrapper stay in his tummy? It does have tiny teeth marks on it that look like his. My 20F boyfriend, 23M, hasn't been able to make me orgasm and I'm a bit stumped. My boyfriend, 23M, and I, 20F, have been in our relationship for about 5 months. We've been pretty sexually active lately. I understand that it is still a pretty new relationship and we're still figuring out each other's bodies and etc., but each time we do it I haven't been able to finish. I haven't been this intimate in a relationship before, so I've never had to deal with this sort of issue. I've tried guiding his hand, explaining to him how to get me there, and he even goes down on me. And while everything feels great, I just can't seem to get there. Sometimes I feel as if I'm taking way too long and don't want him to work for it any longer. I can get myself off just fine, though it takes a bit longer. My boyfriend feels as if he's the problem for not being able to get me to orgasm. He's told me Thathe feels slightly insecure in several aspects for no being able to get me to finish. And though I've expressed how he isn't the issue and I appreciate how much he's trying and taking any advice I give him, I still feel awful. I don't want him to think I'm not attractive to him. Is there anything I could do that could possibly help me orgasm? And how do I reassure my boyfriend that isn't the issue? 20F. After 1 year together in the same city, we have to transition to long distance. Need advice. We're both 20, been together for a year. Long story short, we applied for the same college and wanted to move to a different city together. I got in, she did not. I'm fucking devastated. This girl means the world to me and has helped me in more ways than she knows. Without her I wouldn't be the person I am today. She's the entire reason I even applied in the first place. I'm honestly considering not leaving, but she says that's out of the question. We'll still be in the same country but with a 9-hour drive between us, or 12 hours with the train. I'm planning on visiting as often as possible, holidays 100%, maybe even weekends or every 2 weeks. I don't have a driver's license yet, so it's either the bus or the train for me, but it's fine, since I'd get a student discount. I need advice, desperately. Anybody had similar experiences? Please no. You're young. End the relationship. Kind of comments. I've heard enough of that. Not an option.